Hello and welcome to Sim.bc where it is 12:13. Yeah, I got covered that time, had it in preparation. And I know that I spoke a bit of a cold streak yesterday, and today it's a hot streak. Who could have thought? It was 10 degrees yesterday, today is 25. Yeah, the weather is more bipolar than the work ethics in my group work so far, and that's saying a lot. Considering that I'm in the group and some other people, well, let's just say that they'd rather be at the funeral than at school. Now, that's of course an exaggeration, but you get the point of what I'm saying. You get the message that I'm trying to get across. Anyway, anyhow, I'm going to school today at 13:30, so half past one. That's in about 1 hour and 15 minutes. So I'm planning on leaving in 15 minutes. So we'll see if we can wrap this up quick and easy and see if we can upload the video because yesterday it didn't work. I mean, it worked. I got the video up, but I had to use a new way of doing it. You see, usually I've been at this for a while now. Usually I'm just clicking a button in iMovies and it gives me the option to upload to YouTube. Now that has worked 60 of 61 times, including the Barcelona video. However, yesterday, for some despicable, mysterious reason, it didn't. I tried to upload it, and it said that it was uploading in 2 seconds. And I went into YouTube, and it said video, like registered a video, but that upload was cancelled or upload failed or something. And I was like, that is weird. Went back to iMovie, tried it again, still the same result. Went back to iMovie, tried it again, same result. So I was in a bit of a panic there for a while. I was like, I want to maintain this daily upload schedule. For God's sake, I even sacrificed like 2 or 3 hours of my vacation in Barcelona for maintaining this upload schedule. I should probably be able to keep up with it now too. Or not sacrifice. Of course, it was funny. It was a great experience. Plus, I can look back at them now. It's super crisp. It's nice. But I was in a bit of a panic there. So instead, I extracted the video to the desktop, of the computer, and uploaded it manually instead, which also worked fine. I'm just going to load my computer for the 15 minutes that I am going to be here. I might as well utilize it to gain some power in the computer. Anyway, so we will see if I will be able to upload the video through the conventional means, so to say, of iMovie, or if I have to extract it again and re-upload it manually. Now, what I found was there's a lot more alternatives if you upload it manually, so you can get it, how can I explain it? You can get it set up at launch, if that makes any sense. So for instance, if I upload it manually, I can choose the thumbnail, I can choose the tags, I can choose the description, I can choose each and everything. However, when I'm doing it through iMovie, it automatically uploads, publish it, and then I go in and like work on it, so to say. Which is all fine, it's all good. But it's it's not as efficient in the long run, because sometimes I upload the video and then I go to school and then I come home and then I fix with tags and thumbnails and descriptions and all of that. So back and so forth. So it's actually kind of a nice way to manually do it, but we'll see what I will try to do. Anyway, to keep riding on the negotiation train. Oh, it's so weird. I always think that this way, that I'm going to start here when I do this. But now I just threw everything into the wall. Well, so the train that hopefully doesn't crash into the wall, but actually keeps going out into the room, doesn't really matter. It's not that big of a deal. Going on the negotiation train, yeah, something I had to work on, just for my own sake. Going on the negotiation train today, I was planning to discuss win-win collaborations, win-win situations, and what is different like in negotiations, and what is different than from a win-win and a win-lose. Well, we can start with defining that and move on to the 4 steps, which is like building up the win-win. The difference between a win-lose and a win-win is that, well, as the wording says, a win-lose, you have a winner and a loser. Usually, you're dividing the value, you're distributing the value. Someone's getting more value than someone else. At best 50-50, but usually no, usually not. Someone is trying to get a better deal. We have asymmetric information, could be the same in win-win situation, of course, but Usually you have asymmetric information, so that one side has more information than the other side, and they're trying to compete in order to gain the most value for their side. They don't think about the other person's side. They just want most value for themselves. That's win-lose. Now, instead, win-win is all about extending the pie, so to say, making a bigger value to share in between the two parties. So, how is this done then? Well, it starts with you meeting with your counterparty. You've probably done the prep time. This could be in the context of a sale, so you can use the 6 sales steps, which we have covered before. But just to summarize them, it's the prep time, the introduction, the questionnaire and needs assessment, the product presentation, the objection, Your Honor, and then the closing the sale. So that can be used when you're moving into this win-win situation. But in order to really win, so to say, really gain from a win-win situation, there's 4 things. And win-win is not that you're winning twice. Is win-win is that both parties move out with more than they came with, so to say. More like both parties want more. That both parties should gain more in a win-win situation, so that none will feel left out. Now, something that's important to mention before we move into the 4 steps is that a win-win situation could be that you're gaining as much value as you wanted to when you came in, but together you have gained more value than was estimated, and all of that extra value goes to the opposite party. Now, that's nothing wrong. That's nothing bad. You still gain the value that you wanted to, so you're satisfied. But you should have the heart, like you should be the big enough person to understand that. Well, we have together created enough, like more value. I can let this person have the excess value that wasn't estimated, because it allows me to get my value and them to get their value plus some more. Anyway, so now we only have 3 minutes. I'm going at 12 for the last couple of days, so let's just get into it. Well, the first one is finding the problem, like defining the problem. What is the problem here that we're going to discuss today? So 2 parties meet and they're like, we're having a problem here. Let's try and discuss it, blah, 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 blah. And then when they have defined the problem, they start, or when they have like presented the problem, they start to define needs. So what is my needs and what's your needs? What's the different parties' needs in this situation? How can this work together? How can we make sure that both parties get their needs thought of, or get their needs represented, so to say? And when this is done, you try to generate alternative solutions that will fit both needs, that both parties needs, and instead of just making one solution, you make several solutions so that you have some to choose from. Like, for instance, through brainstorming, or you're going into like you're dividing the different parties into different groups. You have maybe 2 parties with lots of people in both of them, so you split them up, or you mix it together into one big group and you split that group up. So every little group is going to have one person from each party, and then they make up some small negotiations and some small solutions, and then they all meet and present it. There's different ways of coming up with solutions, that's all I'm saying. But you come up with different solutions. Why? Well, because if you come up with a solution that works, that might be that you're just going with it because you feel like, well, this works. But if you went at it for a bit longer, you might have found an even better solution. So what we are looking for here is not only a solution that works, but a solution that is good, a solution that is the best possible solution for the situation, creating the most amount of value for both parties. And instead of, this is going to be hard to show, but instead of having a circular, it's okay, so if you're having a circular diagram like this, instead of just splitting it in half, instead of just splitting, so you take a piece of the pie, instead of you starting off with like a quarter, let's say, and then instead of trying to get half, you're trying to extend the circle so that your quarter that you have actually gets bigger, so that you gain more value, even though the other party will gain 3/4, which also is extended, so they will gain even more than you do, but both of you will gain on it. That's the entire idea of win-win. So that's what we're trying to do with the different solutions. You're trying to find ways of how we can extend the circle, extend it, make it bigger, so that even though you still have a quarter, that quarter is a lot bigger. Like that quarter is gain, like it's now what you say, it's representing a bigger portion of value, so to say. And then the last option, like the last step, I mean, is to evaluate the different options that you've come up with. That's harder than it sounds because there might be it might be a situation where both of you gain. So both of you will gain more than you did initially, but then it comes to the situation which solution benefits you the most. And here you have to be the bigger person to realize that, well, I've already gained as much as I wanted to. Of course, you want to always bargain for a bit more, but if for instance, me and another party are having two different sides and we're both gaining the amount of value we came for, but there is a two different solutions, one where party 1 gains more and one where party 2 gains more than estimated. One of them has to be the bigger person and say, well, we can back off from this gain, we've gained as much as that we wanted to. The excess estimated gain you can get because we're still gaining the the gain that we wanted, the value that we wanted to from the beginning. And if the problem is, if you don't do that and start arguing instead, well, the deal might fall through and it turns into a win-lose situation, and that's not good for anyone, because then you might end up with less value than you would even if you gave the other party the excess values, let's say. So don't bargain for too much, but still, you shouldn't just roll over either, but you should be the bigger person and realize the potential gain from both. So that's a win-win situation. Try to extending the circle of value instead of just distribute, and then distribute it instead of just taking value. So the 3 first steps: the finding the problem, defining needs and the problem, coming up with different solutions, is creating value, trying to extend the circle, and the last one, the evaluate solutions, is to try to distribute the value that you have created. So that was all from me today. Hope you have a nice day, guys, and I will see you tomorrow when it's also supposed to be like 26 degrees. It's crazy. It's October back in Sweden. It's like -4. It's amazing. Well, anyway, have a nice day, guys. Bye.